Hello and welcome to Hot Issues. And this week we are taking a look at the prison service of Ghana. Are the conditions in our prisons bearable? Are they human? And if they are not, what can be done to improve the conditions in our prison? What is the purpose of keeping people away from society in prisons and so on? These are some of the issues that we are discussing on this program. Welcome to Hot Issues. Hello, welcome back to Hot Issues. And as I indicated from the very beginning, we are taking a look at the prison service of Ghana. Are the conditions in our prison humane? What is the purpose of imprisonment? Can we improve the conditions? What are the specific things that we can do in order to improve the conditions in our prisons? Do we even need to improve the conditions in our prisons? And we are fortunate this week to have with us for this conversation Rev.Dr.Stephen Wengam, who happens to be the chairman of the Prison Service Council. So you're welcome.
Thank you, Advocacy.
Yes, sir.
It's an honor to be on your show today. I watch it every Saturday.
Well, that's an endorsement. What is the situation in our prisons now?
Mr. Pratt, it is, what word do I use? It is deplorable. It is inhuman. It's not the best. It doesn't resonate with the highly held view that we are a very hospitable country. And I believe that we can do something about it, and we must do something about it now. Because I have always said that after touring our prison facilities, I've come to the conclusion that our prisons are next to hell. It's a place that you shouldn't wish for your worst enemy if you have any amount of love inside you.
But that's the place where we keep people who have committed crime, high crime and so on. Why shouldn't they suffer?
Well, many have asked similar question. Because the point is this, they have offended. I mean, to be incarcerated alone, it's enough. For your freedom to be taken away from you, it's enough punishment. A few months ago, I was in New York, and I was privileged to visit the New York Correctional Center. Interacting with some of the inmates, some of them admitted that the prison, it's more comfortable than where they were living. But they said there is nothing compared with freedom. When you are working in your office, there are times you feel bored sitting at one place. You want to get up, move, interact with people. Can you imagine being locked in a facility where you can just go to your cell room? For a place like Kumasi Central Prison, it's so enclosed, there is no space, you have no park, no recreational facility. So your life is monotonous, eat, sleep, locked up. If you were used to, normal life, get up in the morning, go to work, go to church, go to this place, locked in there for 24 hours can be the longest period of your life. And therefore, for those who say that we don't have to pay attention to them, I think it is not fair. Yes, they are incarcerated, but remember, if you keep them 100 years, they will come out anyway. And if they contract communicable diseases, let's say TB, they will sit with you in the trotro, your case will interact with them, they will pick it and bring it to you. Again, another reason why we must pay attention, to them is this. If they are not reformed, if we are not able to equip them with any skill, when they come out, they will repeat the same offense or worse offense. That means that you and I, we are not safe. Our security is endangered, and therefore we must, of a necessity, improve conditions there so that when they come out, they can be better people, so that you and I can be very safe in our society.
Now, specifically, what are the conditions in the prisons? I mean, if you entered a prison, what are some of the things that you would see and not see? I mean, what are the conditions there?
Currently, we have 43 prisons installations in Ghana. Only 3 are purpose-built. The 40 were old colonial forts built in the 18-something. And some of them are also warehouses converted into a prison facility. I mean, once it is not purpose-built, it is not serving our purpose. Our mandate is to reform and rehabilitate them. And therefore, if you go to most of our prisons, overcrowding is very common. We have a 15,000 prison population with about 5,000 officers, making 20,000. The total capacity of all our prisons is supposed to be 9,000. It should be able to accommodate 9,000. And therefore, we have excess of 6,000, accommodating an excess of 6,000. If you go to Kumasi Central Prison, the capacity of the place is 450. Currently, it's accommodating about 2,500 with only 5 toilet facilities. You go to Nsawam prisons, the capacity of the place is 850. It is housing a little over 3,500. And therefore, an ordinary prison cell that should accommodate about 20 people is accommodating about 91. They sleep in shift. You see the way sardine is packed in the container, that is how they sleep. Their skin touching each other, they sleep in shift. You sleep 3 hours, you have to get up for your neighbor to also have his or her share of the sleep. Now, because we have to lock them up, let's say by 6 p.m. or 7 p.m., we are compelled to put a toilet facility in the cell. It's not even enclosed. So can you imagine struggling to sleep and then your neighbor has to attend to nature's call? Poor ventilation, so skin disease is very common in that place, and it has had a great toll on them. About 79% of the 15,000 are convicted prisoners, 21% are on remand, and about 60% fall below the age of 40, meaning that we have a very youthful population in the prisons in there. Currently, we feed them on 1 Ghana cedi 80 pesos, breakfast, lunch, and supper. And meanwhile, the contractor's profit is in there. So you can imagine the quality of food we give to them. Another major challenge that we are battling with has to do with logistics. 99% of our vehicles are not roadworthy. Recently, the Director General of Prison was in a convoy with other heads of security agencies and their vehicles seized. In this 21st century, we have to bus prisoners in trotro. So I was asking the prison officer, how are you able to keep them intact? We don't hear too often of maybe prisoner escape. They say we have to build relationship with them. We have to use psychology. Recently, I'm told in Sunyani, one prison officer escorted 4 prisoners to a farm. A snake bit the prison officer, and the inmates carried him to the hospital. And then the prison hospital authorities then informed the prison authorities, and then they came in. They didn't escape. There was another time, also I'm told, an inmate attacked an officer and used cutlass to literally chop off the hand. These are some of the how they call the hazards of the job. I'm told, especially those in the condemned prison, he that is down needs fear no fall. And sometimes out of depression, they can be extremely difficult. You want to lock them up, he says he will not go and sleep. He will dash to the toilet, then smear himself with fecal matter. What do? You have to talk the person. You have to let the person understand that it is not my fault. I'm trying to help you. So these are some of the challenges. We are also faced with the challenge of healthcare. We don't have the resources to even pay for their national health insurance premium. And the prison is under Ministry of Interior. We're not under Ministry of Health. As a result, we don't get resources directly from Ministry of Health. So, of having 20,000, let's say, prison service population, 15,000 being inmates, 5,000 being prison officers, we have no single medical doctor. We don't have a single hospital. We have police hospital. That is a military hospital. Why don't we have a prisons hospital? I don't understand. And if you are dealing with these numbers, we don't even have a single medical doctor. 3 years ago, we had 3 doctors. They had to leave because of poor conditions of service. The infirmaries we have is nothing to write home about. If you find a paracetamol there, then that day is one of the best days. And therefore, you find inmates dying of very common diseases that probably could have been avoided. By the time they rush an inmate from, let's say, in Savannah to Accra, the inmate is passed and gone. So the health of the prisoners is not the best at all. Another challenge we are confronted with is our inability to fulfill our mandate of rehabilitating them, giving them skills training. if you go to, we have carpentry shop, tailoring shop, we have tie and dye shop, but they're literally empty. You go to Kumasi with 2,500 inmate population with only one carpentry shop. How many of them will ever have an opportunity to go in there and learn a skill? And that is why a good number of them, they are second-time offenders, because they come out, by the time you go in, you lose your job. So they come out with no job and they have to go back to a crime, not because they wanted it. So we need to stock our workshops with equipment. We also have a challenge. We have about 15,000 acres of land. We are only able to cultivate 1,000, because to go into such large-scale farming, you have to do mechanized farming. I mean, our HO tractors are broken down, vehicles to convey prisoners from the prison facility to the farms is not there. We don't have the storage facilities. We don't have what it takes to go into large-scale farming. We should have been able to feed ourselves. And to dare say we can even feed Ghana, because with 60% being very youthful, for them, it is even excitement for them to go out there and work, because they can exercise their body and then enhance their health. But here we are not able to do large-scale farming. So these are some of the challenges. But let me quickly add, Uncle Kwesi, that the welfare of the prison officer is another issue that we must look at. If you put a police officer here and a soldier, and they put a prison officer there, you are sure that the police officer and the soldier command respect in the eyes of the public more than the prison officer. Many people treat the prison officer as a prisoner, and by spending 8 hours of the day in that deplorable conditions, we are subjecting them to as ones who have been convicted. And most of the time, they pick diseases from the inmates and carry it on to their family members. You go to the barracks, they were built in the 1920s and 30s. We've not added. So 2/3 of the prison officers live in rented apartments. When you get to the headquarters, you see landlords there threatening to eject that because we don't have money to pay the rent. And in the barracks, a single room 10 by 12 feet, and you have family of 5 residing in that place, which is very demoralizing. Until one of the purpose-built prisons, Ankaful, we have an accommodation attached, but it's not enough, to serve our purpose. So these and several others are some of the difficulties we are confronted with, and that is why the 6th Prisons Council is poised and is rolling out certain projects to help us solve these challenges.
I happen to have been in a prison.
I know that, and I'm eager to hear you comment on that.
And there was a sign which simply said that disinfectants are strictly prohibited. And you could see maggots all over the place. Why is that?
Wow. The problem is this, Uncle Kwesi, even money to buy disinfectant is not there.
But it's actually prohibited.
Well, maybe then, I didn't encounter that. Then I may have to find out why it is prohibited. Because rather, what they told me was that they rather need disinfectants, to be able to keep the place neat and healthy so that they don't contract, some of these common diseases that actually go with it. Mm-hmm. We also, for the juveniles and for those who come in and are willing to pursue further education, we run the BC, GHS, and WASI. For the last 3 years, they excelled. We got 100%. And again, for lack of resources, we are not able to enroll many of them. And when you go to the developed economies and countries, you have people able to get their first degree, even their masters, while spending that long 25 years in prison. And that's another area that we have to look at. We don't even have simple weapons. The recent attempted jailbreak in Kumasi, our men didn't even have guns. But for the closeness of the police station and the army barracks, about 20 prison officers, with 2,500 inmates who were attempting to break jail. So it's brought to the fore the need to relax our laws, to allow us to use, some weapons. We don't have CCTV cameras there. We still use the manual paper. No wonder recently in Kumasi, when there was attempted jailbreak, the 2 computers we had was vandalized, and we are back to zero. So indeed, the situation there is horrible. After touring the prison facilities for 3 days, I couldn't eat. And that is why I commend some of you who have had a brush with the prisons and have become better. And I believe that we can use the prisons to produce great people. I mean, look at what we are doing today. Look at Nelson Mandela, Kwame Nkrumah, J.B. Dankwa. As a religious person, being a pastor, permit me to make some references. Joseph in the Bible, he didn't commit any crime. That notion that everybody there is a criminal is nothing. It's not neither here nor there. 21% on remand, and some are there because of other technicalities of the law, or because they didn't have money to secure the services of a lawyer. So it is not the case. If people can go there and become presidents, it means there's something good in there. If Nelson Mandela can come out and still be able to not hold any bitterness in him against those who perpetrated all kinds of evil against him, it means that we can turn the prisons to become a center of excellence. And that is our ambitious goal and vision, so that we can produce quality people. They will come out and warn those who are misbehaving to say, hey, even though prison has made me better, but you don't need to go there, to learn, the lessons of life.
Now, how come that more than 20% of the population in the prisons is made up of remand prisoners? How come 21% is too big, isn't it?
Yes. That is why, to deal with this issue of overcrowding, when we took over, we were sworn into office in December. The first thing to do was to engage all the major stakeholders in the criminal justice, area. So we paid a courtesy call on her ladyship, the Chief Justice. We had very fruitful discussions with her. I made them print the list of all those on remand, stating the offense, the number of years, and the Chief Justice was shocked, attempting to steal good. He's been on remand for 4 years. So we realized that, of course, the police also have a role.
They begin to steal goat.
Yes, and he's been on remand for 4 years. In fact, she couldn't believe that certain people have been there on remand looking at the kind of offenses. So we said, well, some of the actions and inactions of the judiciary has contributed to the overcrowding. And she made a firm commitment. And immediately, we showed a documentary on the state of Ghana prisons. She gave a directive that the whole of the month of April and May was designated for remand prisoners. And the Justice for All program to us really helped to decongest the prisons. Then from there we went to the IGP, because the whole process starts with the police. We have some of our police officers are very good, they are very professional. Some too, I can't say the same about them. They do very shoddy job, shoddy prosecution. Some of them go on transfer, go on retirement. You can't find the document, and the person is languishing in there. Thanks to God that the Chief Justice just launched the new sentencing guidelines that gives certain minimum number of years. If you can't prosecute the person, if you have been on remand for this number of years, the law will give us the power to release you to go. We also paid a courtesy call on the Attorney General and raised some of the challenges that emanate from her department. We had very fruitful discussions. We went to the Minister of Interior, Parent Ministry. Then we sought audience also with His Excellency the President. The prisons have been like an orphan institution. We are giving the crumbs. I'm not comparing. I'm passionate about what is happening. We are seeing that almost everything goes to the police, everything goes to the army. But Uncle Kwesi, can you imagine a country without a prison? It would be chaotic. The reason why I could drive here, even though there may be some criminal elements around, because of the thought of prison, they will shy away from committing certain crimes. So let's stop seeing the prison as a useless institution that we don't need to commit resources to. And when we paid a courtesy call on the president and painted to him the state of the prisons, he was moved. And then the council invited him to visit the prison, because no president has, well, with the little I know, I may be corrected. And he has graciously accepted the invitation. On the 3rd of July, His Excellency the President, in the company of the council, and then the Chief Justice indicated she want to join the president. Then the UK ambassador to Ghana has also indicated, such a high-powered delegation to show to the world that it is high time we do something about our prison conditions. We've also been visiting some of the embassies. We've been to the US ambassador to Ghana. We've been to the Chinese ambassador, the Iranian ambassador. The reason is this: 800 of the prison population are foreigners. And we are launching a project, launching a fund, and we are calling them to come on board. And at the Chinese embassy, I challenge them to help us to build a prison hospital, which for me, it's one of the critical projects we want to undertake immediately. We've also been reaching out to corporate bodies, to come on board to help us. So the Sixth Prison Council is launching Project Advocacy, which has a threefold component.
Hello and welcome back to Hot Issues. And we are talking about the conditions in our prison and perhaps the need for reforms in our prison. And we are fortunate to have with us in the studio Rev.Stephen Wengam, who is the chairman of the Prison Service Council. Now, just before we went on the break, I raised the issue of the presidential pleasure, that special category of prisoner known as the presidential pleasure. What is this category? Why are they in prison? And some of them have been in prison for more than 40 years. Why?
Some of them, let's say somebody who has a mental condition or has committed a certain crime or there's a certain perception held about the person. If you keep the person in society, public outrage and anger could lead to their lynching or their being killed. So we are allowed to keep such people away, from society, for their own good and also for the larger good of our society. And again, the Constitution grants the president the power to grant amnesty. And therefore, for example, 1st of July, the president, in consultation with the council, will be granting amnesty to quite a big number, which will help decongest the prisons. Of course, there are certain categories that the Constitution prescribes. There are those who are narcotics and murder cases. They are not part of those who will be granted the presidential pardon.
Yeah, but some of them have been in prison for 40 years. I mean, why?
Well, like I said, periodically we give report to the president, and that's why normally during every year when the president desires to give amnesty, they are key on the list. And this year I know one particular person who is about 90-something years who will be granted amnesty. And some of them who have been well behaved. So we have to advise the person. We should also be able to say that the person has reformed, or the person, when released, will be able to live a meaningful life outside.
But if somebody is suffering from a mental condition, isn't the proper place a hospital? The proper place to keep the person, isn't that a hospital?
Yes, but if you keep him in the hospital, then you have to provide 24-hour security. We visited a company, I wouldn't want to mention the name, seeking support for Project Advocacy. And they mentioned to us that, well, for now they are focusing on mental health. Then we inform him that you'll be surprised the percentage of people who have mental conditions there. In fact, 95% of those who commit murder, most of them they are more of a mental case. Yet we don't have a hospital, and that's for Ankerful. Some of the hospitals in the central region and in Accra, they are pretty close to some of these mental psychiatric hospitals. So that is why we are really pushing for us to have our own hospital, so that we can have psychiatrists who would treat them, because it's not easy. A lot of them, if you go and look at the way they behave, their actions, they will still go to the refuse dump. Especially the psychiatric patients, the drugs they take demands they eat a lot. So having fed them on 1 Ghana cedi 80 pesos, they are hungry. So some of them, you see them going to the garbage, container and looking for food to eat. You can't restrain him. He is hungry. And you fed him on 1 Ghana cedi 80 pesos 3 square meals. So sometimes it's a very painful scene to behold. You wish you had the magic wand to be able to conjure so that things change. And that is why this time we want to involve everybody. And I think that if we can, all of us can commit ourselves to helping the prisons, I believe that things will change.
Isn't it true also that the regulations require that you segregate recidivists from first offenders? And are you able to do that?
We are not able to do that. The UN standard minimum rules requires that. And also they requires that we separate the convicted prisoners from the remand prisoners. But then for lack of space, if you've been to Kumasi Central prisons, it's a very small prison. They are crammed in there. So the person who stole cassava is in there with an armed robber, a very hardened criminal. And they have nothing doing, so they have to share the kind of things they were doing. And then they are like, you, excuse my language, you were a very big fool for stealing cassava. They give you 5 years. I killed. I've been given 20 years, 50 years. So they begin to pump all kinds of things. Some of them are bitter with society. In as much as they are guilty, they didn't wish to do that, but circumstances compelled them. I was in Nairobi about 2 weeks ago, preaching in a church, and the lady approached me in tears and said she was convicted. She did narcotics, and she was in Ghana prison. She was acquitted and discharged. And she said that what happened, the husband was irresponsible. She couldn't take off the case, so somebody led her into this narcotic business, So she came out very bitter, angry with the husband. But for the prison experience, she would have probably done something to him. So they are bitter in there, so they want to, they want to revenge. So they want to train those petty offenders to come out and wreak havoc on society. And that's why we need to expand infrastructure so that we can categorize them and be able to help reform them. Another challenge I forgot to mention has to do with capacity building. If you look at the modern trends, now we're now moving away from punitive listing to reforming the prisoner, and therefore there is the need for us to upgrade the knowledge of the prison officer. We have only one training school. Ideally, we should have a staff college for the senior officers and then one for the junior officers. Because we don't have the logistics and the resources, we have only one. And because of the numbers, they're not able to do any meaningful training. So some of them are relying on the 1972, 19-something knowledge they had. So it is hampering our ability to reform from the prisoner. I had a chance to travel outside, and through the instrumentality of some brethren, I was linked to Saginaw Valley State University in Michigan. They have a criminal justice department. I paid a courtesy call on the president and spoke with him. They are willing that we affiliate our training school with them so that we can do some online courses. We will grant scholarship to some of our officers. He'll be in Ghana in October for us to sign an MOU, and hoping that will help us, build the capacity of the prison officer.
Have you come across another category of prisoner, or have you been told about that category, who actually believe that the conditions in prison are far better than the conditions outside, and they don't want to leave the prison?
Yes, I have come across them, because having been there for many years, they've lost touch with their families. Some of them, their families even think they are dead and gone. Normally, once you're incarcerated, 99% families abandon them, they don't visit them, and therefore, having been there for 20 years, he's lost his job, no family. He's wondering, when you release him, where is he going? No accommodation. So for them, the prison is their home. And even if you release them, they want to go and commit an offense so they can return to the prison. That is why we should be able to, when they are leaving, if there is a facility that can give them some startup capital, or if we should be able to have built some transit quarters, so that when you are released from custody, you can go and stay there for a while, probably until a year or two, when you've been able to do some work, raise some money, and then move into your own accommodation. There is something, it's in my heart, I hope I don't know whether the council has what it takes to do that, but I wish that an NGO can spring up that can focus on this area. Sometimes families out there whose family members are in prison are very bitter because daddy is there, daddy committed a crime. One of the ways we can reconcile them is if during Christmas an NGO can take upon itself and go and visit the families of the inmate and say, listen, daddy says we should bring this package to you. Can you imagine the feeling? You know, that category of people, I encountered them who said, the chairman, me the main baby ao, ane yamami o. I'm sad then, me bush on for point, he found a meko, and it brought tears into my eyes.
Now let's talk about the concept.
Okay.
What are we doing with our prisons? Are we punishing people, or we are trying to reform them, or is a marriage of both? Concept.
For what I see now, probably is both, but the conditions they lean towards punishing them more than reforming them. Because if you look at the deplorable conditions, I was on radio and somebody calls and was complaining that the prison officers have been maltreating, abusing the rights of the inmates. Well, I said, I can't pretend that the prison officers are angels, but God forbid anyway, or assuming I find myself in prison. And then a prison officer comes to have to lock me up and have to sleep in a room with 91 people and have to stand for hours before I can have my turn. I may vent my anger towards him. Sometimes you might think it's the prison officers who are mean, who don't treat them well, but we don't have the resources and the logistics to be able to make life comfortable for them.
Now, this Advocacy project, what is it?
Good. It has three components. The first component is to embark on aggressive education to educate the masses, to renew their mind about the prison, to discard that notion that everybody there is a criminal. And again, I'm glad I'm talking to Uncle Kwesi, who has had a brush with the prisons. I mean, you're a person of strong character, strong conviction, very consistent, and look at what you are doing for Mother Ghana. So the point is that the prison can help shape people's lives. So we want to help people to get rid of that notion and to also understand that the prison is everybody's potential second home. Thirdly, the prisoner is your friend. And therefore, let's see the prison as a critical sector of our national development, and that we can't develop as a nation without the prisons. So we need to commit resources, to improve conditions over there. The second aspect of it is to launch a fund, and that will be done on Tuesday, the 30th of June, and we're going to announce bank accounts, and then also SMS short code. We are saying donate 1 Ghana cedi. 24 million Ghanaians. If everybody should donate 1 Ghana cedi, we can raise 24 million cedis, and that can do a lot to change the face of Ghana prison. And we're encouraging corporate bodies to adopt some of the prisons. I know some have adopted hospitals and others. We are saying you can adopt a prison, a cell, and help improve conditions over there. And then the third aspect of it is to help, when they've left the prison, what can we do? To help them settle, to help them start life afresh. So Project Advocacy is loaded, and it's a partnership between the prison service and the private sector. We're also into PPP. And will you believe that the officers' mess at cantonments was built by our prisoners? I was amazed. I'm told that some of these Chinese who are building some of these high-rise buildings, I'm told they are prisoners. The late Mas Moreau said that the richest place is the cemetery because many people have died with their potential. I dare say that the prison is also one of the richest places because we have potentials locked in there. Remember, those who are convicted of various crimes who probably were criminals, indeed, as all the finest brains, because some of them had done it for many years before they were caught. So we need to be able to harness their giftings and potential so that we can improve life for them. So that is what Project Advocacy, seeks to do. Everybody should contribute so that we can make that place a better place. recently, one very influential person has been sentenced, and when I visited, and then a friend of his met me and said, Chairman, if my friend lasts there for 3 months, I'll be shocked. Because if you look at the kind of lifestyle, it's not going to be easy. And any of us can be there. What did Advocacy do before going to prison? If I leave this place and my car knocks somebody and I kill the person without any fault of mine, I may have to go on remand. If I'm privileged to have a lawyer, then I may get a bail or something. So anybody...
You can also go there on false allegations.
Good. Joseph in the Bible, what crime did he commit?
Mm-hmm.
He was locked in there for over 10 years. Listen, let's not play that pious attitude and think that, as for me, I will never go there. Anything can send you there. And I'm told, the late Kobedu say, having had a brush with the prison, said that if you knew the conditions, they would have put air conditioners. And a prison officer told me an interesting story. I don't want to be specific with the regime, but prison officers went on demonstration, which is, of course, being a security agency, we are not allowed to do that. So they defied that law, and then they went to the parent ministry. The minister of Interior wasn't around, and they were advised to go to the vice president office. And unfortunately, the sitting vice president at the time didn't have kind words for them. And then they left. So when the Interior Minister came, he reached out to them and tried to console them and said, I will do something. A few months later, they were not in office and they were bundled to one of the prisons. You know what the prison officers did? They took that Interior Minister, even though the place is problem, but they can make some place a little better than the others. So then Vice President former said, now how come that I will... What about the one and country one? No one could hear, So the point is that any of us can be there. So we are appealing. We are on our knees on behalf of the 15,000 inmates. We are appealing to every Ghanaian to make a humble donation, not a one-time donation. You can decide that every week you donate only 1 Ghana cedi, and we promise you with our 10-year strategic plan. I don't know what I mentioned that, but we are launching a 10-year strategic plan alongside Project Efiase. We don't want to collect money for collecting sake and have no focus or direction. Our 14-member council, if you look at the people on it, people of integrity from varied background, and we pledge, and being a Reverend Minister, my integrity is on the line. We are going to make sure that we are accountable. Every year we'll come out there and let you know what we did with your money. And we are also going to unveil prison ambassadors. And Uncle Kwesi, there's a letter on the way coming to you. We need some of you to be ambassadors for Ghana Prison, to do advocacy for us, to encourage people. Having been there, you can help tell our story better. So we are on our way to consult with you, and I pray that you graciously accept that to be one of our worthy ambassadors so that we can help improve conditions there.
Yeah, but I don't want to go back there.
Definitely.
Hello and welcome back to Hot Issues. And we are talking about the prison service of Ghana. We are talking about the conditions in our prisons. And we are talking about how we may all contribute to improve those conditions. And we are in this conversation with Rev.Stephen Wengam, Chairman of the Prison Service Council. I was talking about the structures and typical structure. Navrongo Prison. One administration block with 2 cells under it, built with blocks and so on, modern and so on. The rest are mud houses. No space for recreation, even no space for walking around. Shouldn't we be breaking down these structures, these monstrous structures?
Captured in our 10-year strategic plan is something like that. We intend to pull down some of our structures. They are not serving our purpose. We are into PPP, public-private partnership. We are prepared to invite private investors. We have some plots of land we are prepared to trade off, so that people can build modern prisons for us. We are talking to some 3 bodies who have shown interest. We are doing due diligence to ensure that government is not shortchanged, so that we get value for money. For some of them, Uncle Kwesi, we have vast land. All we need to do is just to expand the walls. Some of them, we don't need too much money to expand the walls. And normally for a typical prison cell, it's just creating 4 square wall, and then you have a cell, so that they can have bigger space. So what we are saying is that if we get the resources to build very sophisticated or modern prison, we will. If not, some of them we just have to expand the walls and just create more cells so that they can be comfortable, so that they can have enough space for recreation. In Sawam, they are pretty fortunate. They have big space for football parks. So every now and then, so you see that. If I'm not wrong, I realize that the inmates at in Sawam look healthier than the others, who don't have enough space to do recreation, to exercise, to run around. So it's something we are considering. Somebody also suggested something to me, and I intend tabling it at our meeting. In most of the developed world, they don't use the term prison. New York Correctional Center. And he was like, why don't we consider? Because maybe the term prison is also contributing to the kind of negative connotation that people attach to the prison. And I assured the person that we will discuss that and then see the way forward as far as if adopting a name other than prison probably may help change the perception about us.
Yeah, we've already made the point about the caliber of people in prison. And some of our most talented people have been in prison. I mean, somebody like Mr. Kwame Pianim was in prison.
That's right.
Dr. Nyaho Tamaklo was in prison. Many of them, architects, lawyers, and so on. In this project, how are you going to utilize these resources within the prison walls?
Good.
Doctors, nurses, and so on. How are you going to utilize them?
That is why if we are assisted and we build a hospital, we are going to use the doctors there. Their brains are not imprisoned. Some of the teachers in some of our prison installations are the inmates. They teach better. They are willing to impart their knowledge onto the others. If we're able to build our own officers' mess, what is it that we cannot build? And we also want to encourage government to extend some of the contracts to us, some of the public institutions. We even want to enter into partnership with private individuals. You can establish a branch of your factory within the prison yard, use the inmates, pay for that kind of labor may be a bit cheaper. Pay something to them, pay something to the prison's service. So we want to encourage people. I'm told that some of the sophisticated things we are using in our part of the world were made by prisoners in those developed economies. So let us make use of our prisoners. Let us love them. Let's forgive them. And let's give them a second chance. And like we're saying, if we're able to do that, we'll be able to use their talents to move our society forward. We shouldn't allow them to rot there. Because for some of these professionals, once you are not practicing, by the time you come out, you lose touch. And if we can create this forum for them where government is engaging us, people are using us, if we're able to institute the parole system and the non-custodial sentencing, which the Ministry of Interior had brought stakeholders together. Proposal have been sent to the Attorney General. She says she will forward it to Parliament because we need a legal framework and certain institutions to manage that aspect of our criminal justice activities. So I agree with you, and the project intends to use them to be able to make life better for all of us.
Have you seen prison food before? Just seen, not tasted, seen.
I have seen it, and I was asking
the one they call manpower.
I was asking what type of food is this, and when they told me, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't tell whether it was zontoli or whether it was gano soup or it was Tom Brown. So what is it, Tom Brown or what? Very watery. and
it couldn't be Tom Brown. It's too light to be Tom Brown. You can actually see
maybe
the
the
bottom.
color. It's true, and this is what they are eating.
So what can we do about the quality of food? Because that's terrible. I mean, Zontoli is supposed to be bankum or something, but it's hard, like stone. Manpower is supposed to be soup. You can see through it. What can we do about the quality of food?
That is why we are saying we have 15,000 acres of land. If government, if private organizations, if individuals can buy tractors for us, buy farming equipment for us, we can farm and feed ourselves. We can farm and feed ourselves. We can do it easily.
But there's already a model. In his own prison, Mr. Kwame Pianim started the prison farm, had chicken, had rice farms, and so on. Couldn't we just replicate this model and do it on a commercial basis?
That's right. That is what our 10-year strategic development plan captures that. Apart from rebranding the prison service to make it more attractive, we intend to make some of these commercial activities we can embark on very, very viable. And again, it comes with injecting resources, getting equipment, and that's why we are excited about the PPP, the public-private partnership. If people can come on board and partner with us, we should be able to do this very easily. And if with the parole system, if it takes off, we can even have people come to your home to come and work, come to offices. I mean, this National Sanitation Day, the prisoners can do it easily. We can use the prisoners. And for some of the offenses, I mean, for some who occupy a very high position in society, instead of locking them there, naming and shaming, can you imagine, let's say, a former minister of state, or let's say a pastor, very prominent, who has been indicted of a crime, and then you are cleaning gutter at Makola? The shame alone is enough to deter others. Why do you go and lock him there, and government have to spend scarce resources feeding for 10 years, feeding for 20 years? So we are for the non-custodial sentence, and that's why we visited the Attorney General to follow up. We spoke to the Chief Justice that we should hasten the process so that imprisonment should be the last resort. But in our situation now, that is the easiest 1 to 5 years, 10 years. We have camp farms and camp prisons. Normally, we send those who are about to finish their sentence, those with low sentences. They are not overcrowded because, in recent time, the sentences handed out by the judges are too much. 20 years, 40 years, 50 years.
We don't appear to have a lot of time, but I was just wondering if something could be done about how the prison officers look. Their uniform. They don't look smart. Couldn't they be made to look a little more smart and a little more, Is that not possible? Are you looking at that?
It's possible. Yes, this week somebody passed a comment and said even the color of the uniform is not attractive, brown, and that makes them look like prisoners themselves. That is why our 10-year strategic plan is focusing on rebranding the prison. So anything that will help improve our image, we are going to look at that. Changing the uniform, that one is not cast in stone. We will consider that and do that so that, look at the Navy. Why? Looking very sharp.
Sure.
Look at the police, So I think that it's a good suggestion we will have to consider, and I believe it will help change the kind of perception people have about the prisons.
Well, sir, thank you very much.
Thank you for this platform. We are very grateful to you, Uncle Kwesi.
Well, we've heard the Rev.Stephen Wengam, and he's talking about reform, and of course how important it is for all of us, especially you, to make a contribution to prison reform. It may just be one city at a time, but that one city can go a very long way for us to build a prison service that reflects the dignity of the Ghanaian. It's goodbye from all of us from TV3. From everybody, producers, cameramen, everybody. We bring you the best all the time. Stay with us all the time. Goodbye.